Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, and I greet you with the love and the honor of the infinite Creator. And I continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. So, with that said, I have just within the last 10 minutes uploaded a short to my channel, When Neighbors Go Rancid. And it has to do with yesterday. I went over to discuss property line issues with my neighbor of since I've been here. And so I seen that things were going south quick. So I got out my cell phone and I'm like, I said, I'm recording this. And I'm here to inform you that you have been trespassing. You just watched it. So I have just told you, warned you, told you in public with a witness on tape that you are no longer allowed to trespass. And so at the end of it, you see, well, we'll see about that. Well, I have been checking Georgia law. And the amount of trees that he's pushed over on my place, which I'm going to upload some videos, maybe even do a live stream from the woods, but he's pushed up at least 25 trees. Now, the code says for destruction of property, especially trees, because if it's an oak tree, it doesn't matter how big it is, it's the intrinsic value of an oak tree. Could be worth as much as $25,000 each. So he pushed up a bunch of oak trees. Not only did he, hey Moon, not only did he restrict my access to my own property by pushing all these things up like a fence all the way down my property line, he did not have permission to do so. So thus, the verbal contract that we had was not what he did. Hey, Barry, what you doing? I have spent the day doing some research, and tomorrow's going to be calling folks. Most of it boils down to I've got to get a surveyor out to survey it. But from some of the things that he said in the video, that we're not going to stop doing what we're doing just because we've been doing it for the last 20 years, 40 years. They were cutting a fire break. Cutting a fire break on your side of the line or my side of the line does not bother me. But when he took his bulldozer down there and decided, because he had been cutting the fire break mostly on my property, which I kept telling him, remember, this, what you're doing is on my property. That's your property over there, like 20 feet away over there, not like 100 yards over there. Like he could have moved 20 feet over with his tractor and went down between two lines of his pine trees. He wouldn't have had to push over not one tree. Not one tree. But because he refused to plow the fire break on his property entirely, he decided to push over 30, 40 feet of trees onto my place and push them up against the woods, and in such a way as it creates a fence like 1,000 feet of my property line. And down by the river, he was so far away from the property line, And 2 weeks ago, I told him where the property line was. I said, the property line's over here, not over there, not someplace over here. I said, it's on this side of this big tree. The property line's over here. And what did he do? He pushed up a bunch of stuff, 75 to 100 feet on my side of the on my property, a bunch of scrap and everything, right up to the edge of the river. I mean, right to the bank. And I used to have a trail that went around the river along the bank. And now with all the debris and things that he's pushed up against the bank, I can't get through. So it's not that he just pushed up trees. It's how he pushed them up. He broke our verbal agreement with a couple of trees. What does he think a couple of trees are? I think a couple of trees like 2, maybe 3, not 25. And not in places where it's so far away from the property line. What in the fudge are you doing over here? What are you doing over here with your bulldozer? You got no business being over here with your bulldozer. He knows it. And the way he treated me and the way he, punched me in the eye yesterday. Now, one could say he was grabbing for the phone, but he stuck his finger in my eye. My cheek has been sore. Regardless of what his intention was, he did it. When all I wanted to do was I even asked him before I turned on the video camera. I said, come with me over to the other side of the property. I ain't doing no such a thing. And that's when I thought, oh, it's starting to hit the fan. So let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, over the years, I've let it slide because they were cutting the fire break. But I just read the Georgia law. And just because somebody's been mowing on your side of the property line, maybe for aesthetic reasons or whatever, they have no right, no claim to your property. So just because he's been mowing and producing a fire break on my side of the line does not constitute his ownership of said property, which is mine. So I've been letting it slide and letting it slide and letting it slide and letting it slide. Nope, this is it. Now I can prosecute him for criminal damages because he had no right to push all those trees over. None whatsoever. But because he's rich, because he owns a tire store, because he owns an auto parts store over in Pelham, Georgia. And unfortunately, I don't know this guy's name. I got to do a little bit of looking around to figure out what this guy's name is. I know what his wife's name is, but I don't know what his name is. She's the one that blew her husband away with a 12-gauge shotgun years ago. But now, in her defense, he broke the fudge out of her jaw and ruined her face. Not that it was that good to begin with, but to the point, though, that these folks have given me nothing but trouble all these years. And so because I'm broke, I'm poor, and I don't have any money, I've decided to let this thing slide. Let it slide. Let it slide. They're just, cutting a fire break until this last week that he went down there with a bulldozer and pushed up all those trees. That's not a fire break. That is personal. That is private. That is destruction of private property. And not only that, because they're oak trees and because they're in a wetland, they actually have more value than just a regular oak tree. So am I ticked off about this? You betcha. And here's the thing. He could have avoided this for the last 20 years simply by, oh, hang on. Hey, neighbor.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Man,
I want to hire you. Yeah, I know, for driving me down the property line. I need to go take some more video and pictures, and because I'm gonna sue that some bitch. I just did some research today on he cannot cross the property line with a bulldozer. Period. A tractor pulling the, doing the fire and brake, not a problem. That bulldozer is big problems. And the oak trees he pushed over could be worth as much as $25,000 a piece. And I'm going for it. Now, what I don't know the guy's name. Do you know him? Didn't you say he's got a place over in Pelham?
Yeah, they got that auto parts and tire shop, all that stuff over there.
Well, I'm going to have to find out who he is, because I need to go in and file a report because he hit me in the face.
Yeah, well, how far over on your land is it?
Depending, it's at least 20 feet. It ain't just a little bit, but where he pushed those trees up is like 50 feet from the property line.
Damn, that must have been on damn past where we went.
Yeah, but you see, he was still where she was driving along following us yesterday. The property line's over there. So what's a bulldozer doing over where we were? So anyway, I ain't worried about our property line. We know where it is because it's over there. Where, between you and me is that big post over there. Yeah. And down by the river, we sort of know where it is, But he stepped over the line real good, and he knows it. And the way he treated me yesterday afternoon, like, well, we'll see about that. We'll keep on doing it. No, you won't. That was just an admission of guilt. And I caught him on tape. So, but anyway, what can I do you for, boss man? Yep. No, I tried to stay far enough away, gunshot wise. No, but listen, seriously, when you got some time, I want you to take me down the property line again, but I'm going to record it from the start to the finish and take a few pictures in between. So, because I need to present that to the sheriff's department and also to the lawyer when I find one. No, I couldn't find one that I was happy with, and it being Monday and all, I figured I'd give them the day off and call them tomorrow. You know how Mondays are. Yep. Well, I do, but he don't, and they don't. So gonna have to pay $1,000 to have it done. But I'm tired of this. And I'm gonna sue him. Because a bull, it's not much he can do damage wise with a harrow and a tractor. But that bulldozer, it does get worse further down. But the fact that he was over there with the bulldozer at all is, again, I've just got done spending several hours looking over Georgia law and precedents, and he was absolutely in the wrong, 100%. So anyway. I'm still breathing, brother.
I'll probably see you tomorrow.
All right. But let me know if you want to go for a ride.
Brother.
Okay. Thank you now. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. He don't know I was recording him. Hi, Rick. Yeah. But so I wanted to call him to find out if he knew what my neighbor's name was, and he don't know either. So it's like, it's kind of hard for me to make a police report when I don't know the guy's name. But I'm going to go in tomorrow and I'm going to file whatever kind of report I can do. I'm going to file the report against the occupants or residents of my neighbor, whoever they are. That this is against them. So because I want to start something immediately, I want something to go on record that that he's crossed the line. And after reading Georgia law, especially concerning bulldozers going across property lines, he ain't got leg to stand on. I'm sorry. And at $1,000 a tree on the bottom end, up to $25,000 a tree. So I'm going to take pictures of these trees and show the condition of them, because some of them are great big around. He pushed some big ones over. And those trees in a wetland area, because my backyard is a wetland area, he is screwing with environmentally sensitive stuff. What he does on his property is his business. But what he does with his bulldozer against my property, that's the ticket. So up to this point, I feel confident that my neighbor is going to get stuck, because I don't own a bulldozer, and I have him assaulting me. So it's like, that's going to be a little difficult for somebody to say, well, no, he didn't really do that. Yeah, he did. He came at me. I kept saying, don't you do it, because he kept wanting to come after me some more. And you could hear me going, don't you do it. Don't you do it. And that's when Ricky, fired up and we were backing up. I didn't want to stay and create a problem. I was trying to say, listen, come over here. Let's straighten this out. All he had to do was move about 25 feet to our left as you're going down the property line, and it would have been entirely on his property. He would not have had to push over not one single oak tree of any size. So when I go to the magistrate's office, when I go to the sheriff's department, when I get my attorney and say, all he had to do was move over 20 feet, and he didn't have to push over any of the trees. So therefore, he was absolutely intent on destroying private property. Fully intent on destroying private property. My property. My trees that I've been preserving down on the river. Morgan and Morgan, here we come. I want that mofo's tire shop. He owns a tire shop. He owns a parts house over in Pelham. Oh boy. This is New York City. Hello?
Hey, this is Legal Shield. So I guess you had I guess you're looking to speak with an attorney?
Yeah, can you give me 5 minutes and call me back?
I sure can. Not a problem, David.
Thank you.
Take care.
Ooh, somebody I sent an email to. Well, so I didn't have really a lot to say in this particular live stream, except to say that You know, if you think you and your neighbor are okay and you've been discussing this for 20 years, and then all of a sudden they get out their bulldozer and think they own your ass, no, 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 no. Not nice people. Ooh, my neighbors are being nice, and ooh, he said I could fish in his pond, and he's never there. They never fish it. And what difference does it make to him? But I don't want to. I tried fishing in these stupid ponds, and no, I don't want to go back. So, but you know, stay off my property. He's the one that's been on mine for the last 40 years. So let's just calm down here. So anyway, I want to say that I thank you all for paying attention, and thank you for saying prayers for me, and pray that I have enough money to pull this off, you know, because I've been pissed about this for 30 years. And so if it takes my last dime, I'm going to go for it. So might have to sell some equipment. But anyway, I love you all. Until next time. I might come back on later on. I'm so ticked off and PO'd that I'm nervous. So I love you all until next time. And I do continue to pray that each and every day, that each and every one of you will continue to learn how to accept and receive the knowledge, the healing, the wisdom, and the many blessings from the universe. So with that said, cheers. I do love you all. Please be safe. Even when you think your neighbor's cool, watch out. They'll turn on you. They'll turn rancid on you in a heartbeat. So until next time, I love you. Bye.